Hey all, another video for you. This one isn't really related to the Ranger. It's more in the spirit of doing things yourself. I've just finished building a workbench, a stool and a tool trolley. And I just wanted to quickly go through, or probably not quickly, but I just wanted to go through it with you. When I was living in the Hunter Valley, I had a small shed, 6x3, had a skillion off the side. I bought one of those workbenches from Bunnings, like we all would. You know what I mean? I think it was, I can't remember the price of it. I can't remember if it was under 100 or just over $100. It was a metal racket style, I think that's the brand, racket style benches. The only problem I had with it, it's ones, they got an MDF top, 2 ribs, 4 legs obviously, 2 ribs, and then you put this MDF top in between. And I had a bit of a problem with it. It wasn't bad, but arms along each side that held the MDF top in were sort of that shape, a weird sort of bend in the top of the arms, and then the MDF would sit sort of under this little lip, so there was always a lip there, so you could never bloody properly, clamp anything to it or anything like that. Anyway, so I was doing a few jobs, and as I said before, I'm not good on the tools, by no stretch of the imagination. I'm not a tradie, even though I dress like one. Not a tradie. And to be honest, the reason I wear these when I'm doing my work is because I got sick of wearing shorts and t-shirt that are, normal ones, because they get trashed. I mean, this is filthy, but who cares? It's what it's designed to do, stained and all that sort of stuff. That's why I always wear like work gear whenever I'm working. Makes me feel like a tradie, which I'm not. So basically, in the spirit of DIY. So when I lived in the Hunter Valley, I had a small shed. Bought the bench from Bunnings. Liked it, didn't like it. It was okay, you just couldn't clamp stuff to it properly. So I'd already built a little deck under we had one of those clotheslines that fold up from the wall, and I built a little deck under that for my wife, so she could come from the patio out onto this wooden deck. So I had a bit of an idea how to make wood and cut wood and that kind of stuff. But that was the first time I tried anything like that. And when I built one of these benches, that was the first time I tried anything like that as well. So anyway, I had the racket bench, or whatever it's called, and liked it, didn't like it. So I thought to myself, I'll build a bench, I'll build a workbench. Started looking on the net, looked at plans and all that sort of stuff, and there was all these fancy this and that, and, a lot of guys from the States, a lot of American guys building fancy stuff, and I was like, no, I just want something I can work on. It doesn't have to be fancy. Anyhow, my next door neighbour in the Hunter Valley there, he was a bit of a woodworker. He had a huge shed, massive 3-bay shed in his backyard, and he lived in it, as most of us would if we not lived in it, in the literal sense of the word, but he spent 99% of his time in the shed, because it was where blokes who wouldn't. Anyway, we're talking over the fence one day, and I said, I'm trying to get a bit of an idea about how to build a bench. I said, I bought this one from Bunnings, and I'm not happy with it. He said, come in the shed and have a look. Anyway, my God, his shed inside was crazy. It was the sort of the dream shed. Now, we didn't have a lot of expensive tools or anything like that. It's just the way he had it set out was really good. He had one wall basically built from the stuff that I built the bench from, which I'll show you. And he had table saw, sander, the sanders with the belt, and also the disc. He just bought it off eBay for like $170. Grinder, he had basically one wall of that. And then he had this mobile workbench. And I nicked his idea, told him I would. He showed me how he built it, and I've basically nicked his idea. I've simplified it a little bit. He had drawers and stuff in it, like I said. He used to build those things. Some of the younger guys may not remember them, but if you're almost my age, you might remember those little guys on the letterbox, sawing the wood. They got the little windmill. As the wind hits it, the 2 guys start sawing away. He'd build those and paint them up, and he also used to build those birds. You can pull a string in it, like the center of its chest, you pull a string and it makes the wings flap up and down like that. Anyway, so he did a fair bit of stuff, and then, this bench, I fell in love with this bench. Anyway, so I built one. I built one back there, but when we moved, I left it for the new owner. Told him I was going to leave it. It wouldn't have fit on the truck anyway. And knowing that I'd had to go at it once before, I thought I'll just build another one when I get up to Queensland. As I said, guys, I've done it. So that's the bench I built. Go back here so you can see. So I've just moved to the other camera now. There's Bella. So that's the bench I built. That's me stool. And then this is a tool trolley I've just built. Just finished that about 20 minutes ago. All right, so that's the bench. So it's a piece of yellow tongue flooring from Bunnings. 100 by 75 fence posts, a crappy bit of pine to bring the bottom of the legs back in square, and then we'll go under and I'll just show you what I've done underneath. A little bit of structural pine underneath here, the cheapest stuff, boy, 2.4 I think I bought it in. I'm going to try and put the still images of the wood I got anyway.
Okay guys, this is just a few still images of all the wood that I've used. You can see this is the yellow tunnel flooring from Bunnings. These are the fence posts for the legs. Nothing expensive. That's the structural pine that I used for the chair, for the stool, and also under the workbench, 2.4 meters. And there's the decking, $2.62 a meter. As you see, can't get much cheaper than that. Bit more structural pine. Thanks guys.
You can see what I've done there. That's just 10 centimeters in the whole way round, so 100 mil. The whole way round the bench. Now I did that deliberately so you can see there's an overhang so I can clamp to it. As I said, with that other bench that I had, I didn't like the fact that I couldn't clamp anything to it when I was working on it. Now this is just offcuts left over. You can see I've joined it there. It's not even square, but who cares? You can't see it. I've just used the, timber screws. I'll show you them in a sec. Yeah. So it's one piece of yellow tongue flooring, bits of wood, 100 by 75 fence post, crappy bit of pine there to hold the bottom legs in square, and then I put it on casters. I bought these individually. They're 4 swivel casters. The 2 at the front just swivel, and then you've got lockable ones, just so it doesn't go rolling around. Righto, tools, like I said, this has been the biggest help. This Zito drop saw, bought it from Bunnings, came with a stand. It's got a little laser on it. Make sure you're cutting a square, straight line. You can see the laser there, so when you put the wood up, the laser draws a line on it. It's just, I haven't changed the blade, it's just the Zito blade, and it's done everything I've asked it. It even cut those 100 by 75. I think they're H4s, they're fence posts, so they're designed to go in the dirt, So like I was saying, I don't have a lot of tools, don't have a lot of expensive tools. Anyway, it's all Ryobi. Bit of a Ryobi fanboy. I'll move that stool out of the way. Bit of a Ryobi fanboy, that's just an old paint can cracking in the heat. Yeah, don't have a lot of tools, so I've had these ones for a while. Anything like a circular saw, I get powered. Any kind of saws and sanders, I always get them powered. Probably looking at kind of batteries later on, but anyway, for now, look. Ryobi circular saw, Ryobi jigsaw, Ryobi's pad sander. There you go, look at the quality. But like, who cares? It does me to do the job, and it's not expensive. I mean, we all know Ryobi, they're designed for the home guy who's gonna, if it breaks, he's gonna replace it. He's not gonna try and get it fixed, he's just gonna replace it. The most expensive thing I've got is this, the old brushless drill. Now that's all I had. I had just a normal Ryobi drill, and then I bought one of these brushless ones just because. It was about 149, I think, from Bunnings. Anyway, I was getting the shits with changing this all the time, in and out with the drill bit and the chuck and blah, 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 and bloody then getting the things to drive in the timber screws. So on my way up to Bunnings to pick up a drill driver, I drove past a second-hand shop, and thank God I did, because I walked in and he's got probably 40% of the store was all tools. So I picked up this drill driver skin. It was just the skin I bought. He had it up there. That was $50. And he had one of these 5 amp hour Ryobis, batteries, for $70 it cost me. So when I went and priced this stuff in Bunnings, that was $99, and this thing was $149 or something. And I was like, you beauty. I mean, scratched up, but who cares? You're going to use them. They're not sitting there to look pretty. So good places to have a look at your second-hand shop. See what they got tools wise. I mean, some of them were pretty beat up. I was, that's in pretty good nick, so I was happy with that. Yeah, and I got a few things like these Irwin quick clamps. They come in handy. And as you saw, I've got it set so I can, clamp to the edge of this. Anyway, so yeah, one piece of yellow tongue flooring. Yeah, so she's 1 metre high, which is great for me. Like I was saying, I'm 187 centimetres tall, so, it's good for me. It's a bit over 6 foot. But here's what I found. Because the bench was high, Now, it lives over here. It's another thing I should show you too. I've just got the door open out at the back there. Good old, you gotta love winter in Queensland. It basically lives just here. So because it's on wheels, I can just wheel it back into this spot. It's off in the corner out the way. I'm probably not going to be able to fit the baby in here. This is a bit of a small garage. Anyway, so we got this. Now this is, as I said, it's uncut, the piece of yellow tongue, right? So it's plenty big. You've got heaps of room. But what I was finding was I was using this part, about this much of it, and then the rest of it was tools, and clamps, and my durries, my cigarettes, you know, this thing with screws in it that I needed. All this stuff was just laying on either side. And then I'd work in the middle in this part. And then I thought to myself, that's no good. Right, so, well, before I decided that, I thought this is high and I'd like to have a stool, so I built myself a stool. Now this is just built out of structural pine and decking, pine decking. I made it structural because I'm not a little bloke, you know. It's going to need to take a bit of weight, and as you can see, it's wonderfully square. Hey, who cares, it works. Anyway, so getting back to this. So this is the copy of the bench from that neighbour of mine. It's an awesome idea. It's just, you don't have to cut the yellow tongue and you get a massive work area. But as I said, I was only using the middle. So I was going to buy a tool trolley, and then I thought, bugger it, I'll build one. So I built one. And it's basically exactly the same. It's built from basically offcuts. I had to buy another piece of yellow tongue. The yellow tongue's $27. I'm going to try and put the prices and stuff up. And yeah, once again, put it on wheels, lockable casters at the front. I bought these as a pack. They were $10. I already had the 100 by 75 posts. As you can see, same posts as on the workbench. Had some extra decking laying around that I didn't have nothing to do. So I basically just had to buy the piece of yellow tongue flooring and a few extra screws and the casters. And I just used my circular saw, cut it into shape and build it like that. Yeah, so there you go. There's my baby. So my baby's a little bit too big to fit in the garage, so I probably won't get I could probably get her in a pinch, but anyway, yeah, so that's basically it. Now as you can see, so like, see what I mean, like this has been there to run my sander and the bloody jigsaw and all that when I was cutting out the thing. So I had the piece of yellow tongue here, the second piece of yellow tongue here, all clamped around it, and I was using this area to cut off, and then either side was just tools and crap, and I was having to lift, where's that drill bit, you know, all that sort of stuff, even though I've done a little fancy drill bit stand over here. But yeah, like this, you know, it was just crap everywhere. So I thought, bugger it, that's what that's going to be for. And then I'll leave this whole area basically to work on. Anyway, yeah, so not much, not Ranger inspired, yeah. Yeah, so as you saw, you know, you don't need to have a lot of expensive tools to do stuff, and you can have a go. Like you saw under there, like there's bits of it that aren't perfectly square. I had to screw in another bit of wood to make them join up to hold the legs on and stuff like that. I shouldn't shake the table while I'm watching while I'm videoing, but anyway. You don't need much, and it's fun to have a go. Just take your time, and I will say one thing though, if you start getting the shits, take a break. Because I find that when I start getting the shits, I'll start, you know, forcing things, and that's when things start to break and you didn't cut it right and all that sort of stuff. Like the tool trolley, one of my legs was 5mm out, so the thing was like this, doink, 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 doink. Anyway, so I just cut a new piece. Thankfully, I had more of the 100 by 75 fence post left over, and I just used the old drop saw and cut it. Now, probably the newest tool I've got, like I said, was that brushless Ryobi and the drill driver thing. Other than that, I've had these tools for a while. They work, they're cheap, and they do the job you need. Yeah, so I encourage us all to have a go. You know, I don't have a shed, so here, don't have a shed here, so this is my shed basically. The garage is my shed. Like I said, she's a little bit too big to fit in with the bar on. It's a bit of a small garage. So yeah, this is it. Have a go, don't be afraid to have a go. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Now I'm going to just keep coming up with projects to use all this stuff that I just built. But anyway, that's going to be pretty easy. I'm sure I can think of something. Anyway, yeah, all right. All the best, guys. Once again, thanks very much for watching. You know, it means a lot to me that people are getting, you know, a little bit of use out of some of these. So I'll keep going on this kind of stuff, or, you know, I've got a bit of work to do on the Ranger. I want to run that. I still haven't run that dual battery cable. That's still sitting over there. So as I was saying to you in one of the other videos, I'm going to do that a little bit differently. Plus there's other stuff I want to talk about. The Ranger, the differences between the older model, this one, and the one I had, and how much easier it is to work on the older model. You know, obviously less electronics. Anyway, yeah, so build a bench, build a workbench, build a stool, build a tool trolley, build a table, build shelves, just have a crack. Yeah, all the best. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.